How's it going? Strife here, and it's been a while since I put up a video, so I did want to throw something up there. I've been playing WoW now for about 3.5 months. So I thought this specific fight was a good fight to make a video and then also talk about just what I think about WoW compared to Guild Wars 2. So for the people who don't know, this fight is a Warlock specific. It's a full-on quest line. You're going to do a bunch of stuff, which ends with a single-player dungeon. At the end of this dungeon is this boss named Kanrethad. He is pretty difficult. He gives a lot of people grief. There's a bunch of threads on forums, a bunch of guides on how to beat him, different methods, etc., etc. So I'm not going to go into extreme detail. I am going to show what worked for me. For the people who play Guild Wars 2, this is basically the equivalent of Solo and Lupicus, except in WoW, it's actually a fully balanced intended quest with a reward at the end, which is cosmetic. All my fire spells are going to turn green instead of red. My demon form, instead of being purple, is going to turn green like Kanrethad as well. So as far as this fight goes, the first macro that you want is the Pit Lord macro. So when that Pit Lord comes out, which you're going to use for the rest of the fight, you want to have a macro that targets the Pit Lord, enslaves it, and then targets your last target, which is Kanrethad. You also do want to PetDismiss in the beginning of that macro, which is going to be useful later. So for Demonology, obviously it's a bit harder than Destruction. Both Demonology and Affliction don't have the same utility to make this fight a bit easier, but I love Demonology Spec. I hate Destruction. So I practice doing it on Demonology. In return, I'm actually 504 eye level right now. I don't have like UVLS or two-piece set or metagem or anything that's going to give me a huge advantage. But this is going to help with the DPS checks, so I don't need to use a purification potion to extend the time that I have to kill Kanrethad. So the first phase is this imp phase. What I did on demo is basically single target Kanrethad until all the imps are out, use Shadow Fury stun, then take your portal. Then you do want to use a Pit Lord charge, which is going to increase the damage on the Wild Imps for 6 seconds. From there, just use your Chaos Waves and Carrion Swarm to burst a majority of them down. There's a few up, just finish them off, or let the Pit Lord's Fel Flame Breath finish them off. If you use the charge at the end of each channeling phase that Kanrethad does each minute, it'll be back up for that Cataclysm, so you can interrupt it. The other thing that I found a bit more useful than what other guides recommend is, instead of having a Fel Flame Breath macro to target yourself, I just have one to target Kanrethad and one to target the imps. This lets you spam that breath a lot more to help with your DPS. So for this Fel Hunter phase, as you saw, this is the hardest phase. If you can get through this and learn it, it makes the rest of the fight very easy. What I found worked pretty much 100% was what I just did. So you're going to put your Pit Lord next to the portal, grab each Fel Hunter as they come out. When the third one comes out, you're going to use your charge, then just Chaos Wave, Carrion Swarm again to burn them all down very quickly. You also want to save your Dark Soul knowledge for that phase, so all your DPS 2-minute cooldowns basically are going to be used when those Fel Hunters come out, just to burn them down as quick as possible. I found that without using the charge, sometimes my Pit Lord would get basically unenslaved, which is what the Fel Hunters do. So you're going to have to be fighting the Pit Lord and the Fel Hunters, and then Kanrethad's going to be on you, possibly using a Chaos Bolt to kill you. So by using that charge, I found that every single time I was able to easily burst those down before they were able to hit my Pit Lord. So this 3rd-minute phase, I don't know if you saw, but while Kanrethad's channeling the Doom Lord, that's where you want to use the Pit Lord macro again, which will automatically dismiss the Pit Lord, then re-enslave him. And then having that Fel Flame Breath target Kanrethad and then you constantly spamming it, it's going to naturally aggro the Doom Lord, since that breath does about 25k a second in damage. So you don't even need to target the Doom Lord to get some melee damage on him. He's going to naturally just take aggro from that Fel Flame Breath. And then as long as you're constantly using your demonic portals like you see I am every 15 seconds, if if you can remember. You're going to not have aggro on those Doom Lords. So at this point, it's the same mechanics. You go back to the imps, the Fel Hunters, then a second Doom Lord. So again, just single target. Once they're all out, use the portal, use your stun, use the charge, and then just AoE them all down. Not too bad. And then with what I did for the Fel Hunters, same thing. It's not too bad at all. So basically the only macros I used are 2 Fel Flames, so one to target the imps, one to target Kanrethad, the Pit Lord Enslave, and then the charge macro. So I really only used those 4 macros, and it was pretty easy overall once you get those mechanics down. And besides that, it's just using your DPS rotations. Obviously it gets a bit hectic. It's not going to be perfect, especially when you are just starting the game like me. I wasn't fully comfortable on everything yet. At this point, I've done some raiding now. I think I've cleared normal 3 times. So I'm a bit more comfortable on demo now. And it's really just a fun spec overall to play. So at this point, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I view WoW compared to Guild Wars, and obviously being very late into the WoW game. I have been hardcore in other MMOs, but I took a break from MMOs for a while in college, so I never played WoW. I played EQ2 heavily, Final Fantasy XI, etc. But I did take a break from MMOs, and usually I don't like starting MMOs that are very mature. I like being there as the community builds and kind of learning the game as it progresses from release to whenever I stop playing it. But WoW it's actually a really fun game. I'm pretty addicted to it right now. The raiding in general and just the teamwork mechanics are awesome. I mean, for Throne of Thunder, which is the current raid content for 5.3, every boss feels very, very different. There's all sorts of crazy, unique mechanics. And overall, I think they did a really good job on the raid overall and making it interesting and challenging. So I may or may not make videos for Throne of Thunder in 5.3. I probably will start making videos in 5.4 with the new Siege of Orgrimmar raid zone, just because there's a lot of videos out there already for Throne of Thunder, so if people are interested, they can just search YouTube or wherever for those videos. And since I am not geared up enough, I'm actually at 515 eye level at the point of commentating this video. So we are still farming normal. We want to try and get some heroic done soon before 5.4 comes out, but I don't think normal videos are as interesting since they're not the heroic version of the raid. So when I do make videos, I do want to try and make those heroic versions to just show people and talk through things. So at this point you see I've killed Kanrethad. There's going to be a big talking sequence, blah blah blah, and then you're going to get your green fire. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this fight that you need to watch out for, different mechanics. Obviously actually playing this fight compared to watching it, you're going to realize all the stuff you need to keep track of and why it's so challenging until you do learn the mechanics. This is a very mechanic heavy fight, and just knowing how to play your class, setting up your UI, your keys, your macros, etc. until where you're comfortable with. Basically the point where you can react to something without thinking about it too much. You know, you're just muscle memory with your fingers going to where they need to be. But I am actually going to make a short video on my UI as well. It's changed some since this. Just as a mention, LVUI is good for people who don't want to deal with a bunch of different add-ons. When I first started my add-ons and what I was going to do, I kind of didn't know about LVUI yet, and since I've spent so much time on my UI now, I thought I'd just make a video to go over it. But hopefully this guide for the non-Guild Wars 2 people, they found it a little bit interesting about what I've been doing. And then for anyone trying to beat Kanrethad on Demonology, hopefully watching what I did and what worked for me will help you out as well. So thanks for watching.